Hello and welcome back to the channel where we'll be discussing, for the first time since Messi left the club, who from Barcelona can win the Ballon d'Or this season. And when I think of Barcelona's performances and their team this season, so far, because it's only November, I can think of four players who deservingly are in the top 10 so far. Pedri, Lewandowski, Raphinha, and Yamal. Those four players have been consistent. They've been performing at a very high level this season so far, and they are in the discussion as of now, November, to win the thing. But we need to base on the criteria. I know people are crying on social media like crazy based on Rodri winning the Ballon d'Or. That's a different discussion altogether. I'm not going to discuss that. I'm going to discuss Barcelona. So let's go and check out who deserves it the most. Let's start off with Pedri. Now, the reason I'll touch upon this for this moment. The reason why Rodri won the Ballon d'Or this year, is because the attacking force was nothing special. Yeah, you had either players who scored a lot of goals but didn't win trophies. You had players who won trophies but didn't really have crazy output. And just in general, the attacking force, especially compared to what it was 5 to 10 years ago, is just woeful nowadays. On top of Rodri being an insane midfielder, very consistent, he won 4 trophies last season. It was Premier League, Euro Cup, Super Cup, Club World Cup. So yeah, fair play Rodri. But let's start off the season with Pedri. Pedri has been my favorite midfielder this season to watch so far. I've always liked him. And seeing him now, thanks to Hansi Flick's medical team, he has not been injured so far this season. Hopefully it remains that way. But he has been playing out of his skin. And it's not just about, like, for example, last season, people had, like, Bellingham at one point as a front runner for the Ballon d'Or. Bellingham's also a midfielder, but last season he played higher up. And why people like midfielders like Bellingham, like Valverde, like, these are players that scored goals, and they have, like, power, strength, height. They function in a way where people on TikTok can edit them. People on TikTok see it, and they're like, oh, Bellingham, Valverde, KDB, cold, he scored a crazy goal. Pedri's not that type of player. Pedri scores goals too. He has 3 goals in 11 La Liga games this season. That's pretty good for a midfielder, especially considering he's playing a defensive midfielder in a double pivot instead of an attacking midfielder. But the way Pedri has controlled Barca's games this season has been immense. And even recently, he started off not too great, but recently he's picked up a lot of form. And ratings for someone like Pedri do not do him justice, because ratings have not reached a level yet in football where they look at absolutely everything. They look at a lot of stuff. There's a lot of things part of the algorithm, but they do not look at absolutely everything. Pedri has been insane this season, but the reason why he will not be able to win it is because if Barca's attacking force, and if someone like Haaland continues scoring and continues outputting goal contributions in general at the current rate that they are, it's going to be difficult for Pedri. And this is why someone like Rodri was fortunate to win it this year, because of attacking force, like I said, was weak. This season, the attacking force is much stronger than it was last season, and it's going to be difficult for Pedri, but the way he has played football, he is definitely in top 10. He is not by far, but he's definitely the best midfielder in the world this season, considering Rodri ACL, considering KDB has been injured, and he has not had too much consistency so far this season. Madrid's midfielders have been whatever. The whole team has been very iffy this season. Ancelotti has not had the correct game plan consistently so far. So Valverde and Bellingham are not really in the running. Pedri has been insane this season. Definitely the best midfielder in the world, but the Ballon d'Or is going to be difficult considering, like I said, the attacking force. Let's move on to Lamine Yamal. 17 years old, and he is absolutely insane for his age. Now, the Ballon d'Or criteria is first. So what the journalists who vote look at first is this. They look at performances. Of course, GA is part of that, but performances overall. Watch the sport, not look at it through a calculator. Performances you view by watching the sport. And Lamine Yamal plays football in a way where he's a very good creator. He's a very good dribbler. He can score goals, even though it's not very high level, his goal scoring. And if he remains consistent, he can have a shout for it. But the problem with Yamal is he has dropped a bit in form, and his output has dropped a bit since the start of the season. If you look at August and September, look at his ratings here, down here. right here. 8.0, 8.5, 9.5, 8.7. October, it dropped a bit. He wasn't bad. He was actually very good. It just his output dropped. He has 11 games, of course, 5 goals, 6 assists in La Liga. That's very good for a 17-year-old. But when we further on talk about Raphinha and Lewandowski, it doesn't compare. It's going to come down to trophies as well. There's no international tournament this year, and the Club World Cup happens in the summer. I'm pretty sure. But Barca is not qualified for that based on the last few years. Fair enough. Yamal could win it. He needs to improve his output though, and he needs to be the reason, basically, or top 2 or top 3 reasons Barca win La Liga and UCL. It's going to be important to win UCL this season as well. But this is as of now, November. Yamal, I definitely would put him top 4 for the Ballon d'Or this season so far. Haaland's got to be in that top 3. He has been insane. And I don't really like giving flowers to one-dimensional players like Haaland, just strikers who just score goals, can't create, can't dribble, but he has scored too many goals to not be part of that. Yamal, he's been decent in terms of output. If he continued his form from September to October, he would have been insane. He would have been top 2, maybe front runner, but his output dropped, and for that reason, he's out the out-and-out front runner. If you move on to Raphinha, like I said for Yamal, he plays a sport in a certain way. He plays a sport the way it's supposed to be played. Create everything. Like, I'm not saying he's Messi, but Messi plays a sport. The reason why Messi won 8 Ballon d'Or is because he is super dominant on the field, and he's been, since he started his career, the best dribbler, the best creator, the best scorer, the best everything. And that's why he's won the sport. That's why he's won the Ballon d'Or. That's why he's a GOAT. That's the way Yamal plays a sport, but nowhere near the level of Messi yet. Raphinha. Now, Raphinha, his output has been ridiculous this season, especially considering his last season. But the way he plays a sport is not necessarily the way a Ballon d'Or winner should play the sport, so to say. I know it's weird to say, but he doesn't play the sport. Like, I'm going to use Messi as a reference because he has the most Ballon d'Ors. The way Messi plays a sport, Raphinha doesn't play. Raphinha is a very direct player. He has had very good output, but he hasn't been, dominating the pitch, controlling the pitch, creating chances left, right, and center. He hasn't been that player. That's been Yamal and Pedri. And Raphinha's had 11 games in La Liga, 10 starts, 6 goals, 6 assists. So 12 GA in 11 matches. And in the UCL, he's had 3 games, 4 goals, 1 assist. So he has had crazy output. He's outputting more goal contributions per game than he's playing games. And it is just unreal the level he's at. He's picking up form. Like, he's been consistent. He dropped 1 game here against Getafe, but he's been very consistent. He started off with an 8.6 in August. Well, 8.0, 8.6. You look at it, 10.0. He's been very dominant, and he's consistently been one of the scorers or assisters for Barcelona this season so far. And I think that he definitely can be one of the front runners if he continues scoring important goals, continues scoring versus Atletico Madrid, Bayern, big UCL games. He can definitely be the front runner. But the way he plays the sport, he's very he presses, wins the ball, 1-2, scores. He's not very control the pitch. He's not imposing his dominance on the field. Something that Messi has done. Something that even Ronaldo, when he was younger, used to do. It's not something that he does necessarily. So that could be a bit of a stain on him winning the Ballon d'Or, a bit of holding him back. But he's definitely up there. He's definitely top 3 so far. Finally, Robert Lewandowski. First of all, let's look at Robert Lewandowski's Ballon d'Or history. Should have won in 2020. Ballon d'Or canceled that whole thing for no reason. That was literally, I want to hear COVID. That was nonsense. It was absolute BS how they just talk about robbed. They robbed him of this Ballon d'Or. 2021, they say he should have won over Messi. No, he should have won over Messi because, like I said, the way Messi plays the sport, he was insane that season. He was insane for Barcelona. He was insane for Argentina in the Copa America. His output was insane. And Lewandowski, rightfully so, won the top scorer because he scored more goals. But he wasn't the best player. The best player was Messi. Lewandowski this season, 11 games in La Liga, 14 goals, 2 assists. Unreal output. And in the Champions League, he has 3 games, 3 goals, 0 assists. So crazy output from him. And he's also doing well. He's not doing insane, but he's doing well. Dropping deep, holding up the play a little bit, dropping deep, here or there, creating a link-up play. He's not like an out-and-out number 9 who's just meant to just make runs and never even touch the ball in the build-up whatsoever. He's doing decent in that regard. But he's definitely top 3, top 2, if not front runner for the Ballon d'Or. He's scoring too many goals, And there's no other player in football currently. There is no Messi. There is no Ronaldo. There is no Neymar that is playing football at the most dominant level you could think of. So it's Lewandowski's pure goal scoring and ability that he's shown to link up this season so far that puts him in that top 2, top 1 position for the Ballon d'Or. I think, as of now, from these 4 players that I've mentioned, the player I would love to give it to the most is Pedri. But he doesn't necessarily fit the criteria that journalists look at for Ballon d'Or, which is, output and dominant performance. Pedri has dominant performance, not the output. Fair enough, he's a midfielder. Yamal, his output has dropped. Raphinha doesn't have that dominant performance. Lewandowski, you can see on the pitch Lewandowski a lot more. Lewandowski, you see, he's not one of those strikers that has 3 touches a game and scores 2 goals. Like, he's not like a Haaland type striker. He drops deep, like I said. He's involved. He has crazy output, like I said. I know I'm mentioning things here multiple times, but it has to be said. He's had crazy output, especially considering he's 37 years old. He's been revived under this Hansi Flick system, considering his form last season, which was absolutely woeful for Barcelona. And I generally think he's top 2, top 1 so far for the Ballon d'Or. Barca's team this season has players that could even have 5 or 6 players part of the top 10, 15 Ballon d'Or rankings. But it's an era where this is a football era where the attacking force is not necessarily entertaining. It's not necessarily special. If you go back 5 or 10 years, you'll have unreal attacking players operating. Lewandowski was even in his prime. That's firstly. Neymar, Messi, Ronaldo, Suarez, Hazard. Unreal players, man. These players were absolute dominant forces of the sport, and that's why it was difficult for midfielders to win it. Now it's a bit different. Now the criteria ranking gets discussed more, because back then you'd see Messi play football. All you had to do is watch him play football. That's all you had to do. He played football. He's at least won 1 or 2 trophies, given the Ballon d'Or. He's literally just destroyed everybody he's played against. So that's not the time period we are in now, and there's more discussion to be had about the Ballon d'Or. This is what I think so far about the Barca players this season. Let me know what you guys think, and I'll see you in the next video.